Welcome all. Today we will discuss optoelectronic devices. So as the name indicates, opto means light energy. Electronic devices. So the devices which utilizes light energy for producing electricity or current, or when a voltage is applied to some devices, it may emit light. So these two categories will come under these optoelectronic devices. So, electronic devices which have interaction of photons with semiconductors and thereby provide optical sources and detectors that allow broadband telecommunication and data transmission over optical fibers are called optoelectronic devices. So, the devices which have interaction of photons, with semiconductors and thereby provide optical sources. Either they will be producing electricity or they may produce light energy, or they may detect the presence of light and produce current, and it is used in applications like broadband telecommunication and data transmission. So such devices are known as optoelectronic devices. So these devices which convert optical energy into electrical energy include photodiode and solar cell. They will utilize the light energy or sunlight and they will produce electrical energy. So they are known as, some examples are photodiodes and solar cell. Okay. And the emitters of photons, the devices which emits light energy include there are two categories. One is incoherent sources such as LEDs and coherent sources such as lasers. So LEDs and lasers are the second category. First one, photodiode and solar cell. Photodiode. So the first category what we are going to consider is photodiode. A photodiode is a PN junction diode that consumes light energy to produce electricity. Sometimes it is also known as photodetectors or light detector or photosensor, and the symbol has been given here. So a normal diode and the presence of light has to be shown. So the flat region, which is the p-type material, is known as anode, and the other one is the cathode, which is n-type material. So when a photon of energy greater than 1.1 electron volt hit the diode, then electron hole pairs are created inside the diode. So we have a p and n junction material. When light energy photon having energy greater than 1.1 electron volt hit this p-n junction device, what will happen? Electron hole pairs will be generated. So when it hit the atom, some electron will be released from the atomic structure, thereby creating an electron and hole. So if the photon of sufficient energy enters a depleted region of the diode, it could hit an atom with enough energy to release an electron from the atomic structure, thus creating a free electron and hole, that is an atom with an empty electronic state. So what we have told is, when like this heating is happening, so this is our p-n junction, this is our depletion region, this is p and this is n. When these photons are hit at the depletion region, or the atom in the depletion region, their electron hole pairs will be generated. So we know at the depletion region we have an electric field. So here this is the positive direction and here it is negative. So this electron will be attracted by the positive and will move towards the n region, and this hole will be attracted by the negative and will depleted towards the p region. So you can see here the electron has a negative charge and the hole has a positive charge. So these electron hole pair drift apart and swept from the junction due to the built-in electric field of the depletion region. As a result, holes moves towards anode and electron move towards cathode. So hole will be moving towards anode, that means p region, and electrons will be moving towards the N region, so that is the cathode. This is due to the electric field. We know electric field is directed in this direction, that is N to P. So N side is positive and P side is negative. Electric field that we have seen, positively charged ions in the N side and negatively charged ions at the P side. So due to this positive and negative charge, electrons will be attracted towards the positive and it will reach the N side, holes will reach the P side. So thereby producing photocurrent. So due to this movement of electron and hole pair, one current is generated, that is known as photocurrent. And we have to note that this current direction is from N to P. Photon current direction is from N to P, but the normal diode operation which we see in the last classes and all, previous classes and all, those direction is from P to N. But the current due to thermal energy and other things and all, due to the externally applied voltage and all, the current is flowing from P to N direction, but this current due to photocurrent or current due to hitting of photons is from N to P. The sum of the photocurrents and the dark currents which flow with or without light is the total current passing through the photodiode. The total current will be the current due to thermally generated carriers and the current due to photons or hitting of photons. Okay, so that is the basics of photodiode. Now let's see a brief definition of photodiode. So photodiode is nothing but a two-terminal device. It is a two-terminal device designed to respond to photon absorption are called photodiodes. Some photodiodes are extremely highly sensitive and have high response speed. Two phenomena that happens at the junction are: 1. The carriers generated within the depletion region W are separated by the junction field, electrons being collected in the N region and holes in the P region. And the minority carriers generated thermally within a diffusion length of each side of the junction diffused to the depletion region and swept to the other side of the electric field. Same thing what we have discussed. So we have told that when this photon hitting is happening at the depletion region, this all phenomena happens, right? At the depletion region, if a photon is getting hit with an energy greater than 1.1 electron volt, electron hole pairs will be generated. Electrons will swept to the N side, hole will swept to the P side due to the electric field. So now what will happen if the light energy is hitting at either P or N region, not in the depletion region, or if here light energy is hit, what will happen? If it is the case, there also electron hole pair will be created, but due to the absence of electric field, this electron and hole will combine. Soon after the generation of electron hole pair, the recombination happens. So there is no current flow occur in the P or N region due to the hitting of photons. Only if the light energy is hitting or photons are hitting at the depletion region, current will flow from N to P. The next topic is current and voltage in an illuminated junction. So when a light affected junction, if you are considering a PN junction, what will be the current and voltage? So that is a continuation of the topic for photodiode, where the physical operation and mathematical relations has been discussed. So we know the current due to minority charge carriers. Current due to minority charge carriers are known as generation current. Okay, the carriers generated within the depletion region W are separated by the junction field. So if we have a depletion region having length W, so the carriers, minority carriers, either electrons or hole generated here, will be affected by the electric field here in the direction N to P. So the holes will be swept towards the P region and electrons will be swept towards the N region. That consists of one part of the generation current. Also minority carriers generated thermally within the diffusion length of each side of the junction diffuses to the depletion region and are swept to the other side of the electric field. So I have told that when an electron hole pair is formed in the neutral region, that is this P or N region, what will happen? Since there is no effect of electric field, they will recombine. So there is no current flow due to that particular carrier generation. So if there is any extra carriers, electron hole pairs generated in the diffusion length. So what do you mean by diffusion length? Diffusion length means the distance that a minority charge carrier can travel before recombination is known as diffusion length. So in the p-type material, the minority is electron. So the distance that this electron can travel before its recombination is known as diffusion length of electron Ln in the p region, whereas Lp is the diffusion length of hole in the n region. That means if we have a hole here in the n region, the minority charge carries a hole. So if we have a hole here, the distance that this hole can travel before recombination is known as diffusion length of hole in the n region. So that has been discussed here. Also, minority carriers generated thermally within the diffusion length of each side of the junction diffuses to the depletion region and are swept to the other side by the electric field. So if the junction is uniformly illuminated by photons with energy, photon having energy h nu, which is greater than the band gap energy Eg, and added generation rate, that is GOP, electron hole pair per centimeter cube participate in this current. So if the junction is uniformly illuminated, additional to the thermally generated carriers, there will be certain carriers generated optically. So that current also will be there. So now we are discussing these three cases individually. Case 3 means, first one, these electron hole pairs are generated within the depletion width W. Another one, thus electron hole pairs generated within the diffusion length Ln and Lp. So these three cases, and what will be the total current, that will be seen here. So let's see the number of holes created per second within the diffusion length of the transition region on the n side is ALP GOP. So if we are considering GOP as the optical generation rate, then A is the area of cross-sectional area of a particular n-type or p-type material. Okay, so A into LP is the diffusion length of the hole in the n region. Okay, LP is the diffusion length of hole in the n region. So A into LP is nothing but volume. So volume into generation rate will give how many carriers are there. Volume into generation rate will be giving the number of carriers. So see here, the number of holes created per second within the diffusion length of the transition region on the n side is ALP GOP. Similarly, in the P region it will be ALN GOP. So in ALN GOP, electrons are generated per second within Ln of XPO, and AW GOP carriers are generated within W. So as I told, we are considering three categories. So the first category is, so within the depletion region W, how many electron hole pairs are created, or how many minority charge carriers are created. Second one, within the diffusion length Ln means Ln means the length travelled by electrons in the P region. Third one, within LP means the length travelled by the P holes within N region. So in the N region, how many holes can travel before recombination, that is LP, and in the P region, how many electrons can travel, that is Ln before recombination. Third one, within the depletion region. So these values are given by within LP, that is A, cross-sectional area A, into rate GOP into LP. Okay, and within Ln, that is A Ln GOP, and within the W, that is A GOP W. So these are the number of minority charge carriers present or occupying per second, generating per second. Okay, so I'll read it once again. So number of holes created per second within the diffusion length of the transition region on n side is ALP/GOP. And so if I'm drawing this one, this is our junction, this is our W. So this how much extension is possible, that is XNO XPO, right? So that we have seen in the initial classes. So ALN/GOP electrons generated per second within ln of XPO, within ln of XPO, this side in the P region. So XPO. Okay, XPO means the to end of the depletion region. To end of the depletion region is given by, this is our W width. So this is our XPO and this is our XNO, N region and P region. So this total width is W. So within the XPO we will write Ln. That means the length an electron can travel in the P region. So LP means length and hole can travel in the N region. So we got three numbers. One is ALP/GOP, second one ALN/GOP, and third one is AW/GOP. So these many carriers are generated. Okay, so what is the current? Current produced by these many carriers. So the current due to collection of optically generated carriers by the junction given by IOP is equal to Q into this generation rate. Q means charge of the electron into this generation rate, this number of charge carriers. So we can write it as Q into A. These two are common. GOP, QA/GOP into Ln plus LP plus W. So whatever these three terms we got, adding these three and multiplying with charge of the electron Q will give the optical current. So optical current IOP is equal to QA/GOP Ln plus LP plus W. Now we are going to see what is the total amount of current flowing in the diode due to forward bias, reverse bias, and thermally generated. Reverse bias means that is nothing but due to thermally generated carriers, and due to this optical generation, what will be the total current in the PN junction. So see here, we have the diode current equation ID is equal to I naught. You can use the I naught, or it is nothing but the thermally generated current. So ITH into e raised to q v by kt minus 1. So we have seen this equation. Okay, so the diode current ID is equal to this thermally generated current ITH into e raised to q v by kt minus 1. And we have seen all the condition also. During forward bias, what will be this current? During reverse bias, what will be? And during no bias condition, what will be this current? We have seen. And we know this current is flowing from P to N. The direction of this current is P to N. Now what is the total current due to this diode current? Total diode current after considering this optical current also, optical generated current also. So the total current due to both thermal and optical excitation is I is equal to ITH into e raised to qv by kt minus 1 minus IOP. So do you have any idea why it is minus IOP? Any idea? Yes, this optically generated current is flowing from N to P, whereas the diode current is flowing from P to N. So we have this minus symbol. So the total current I is equal to ITH into e raised to qv by kt minus 1 minus IOP. So what is this ITH? This value of ITH. One big derivation is there. Now we are not going in detail with that. You just study that value. ITH is equal to Q into A into LP by tau P Pn plus Ln by tau N Np into e raised to qv by kt minus 1 minus IOP. What is IOP? IOP is equal to QA/GOP Ln plus LP plus W, where LP is the diffusion length of holes in the N region, Ln is the diffusion length of electrons in the P region, W is the diffusion length, and tau P is the lifetime, mean free time of the hole. That means the time taken for a hole before recombination, how much time it can travel. That is known as tau p. And tau n is the mean free time of the electron. That is also the time interval between the recombination of the electron. How long it can travel as a minority charge carrier. Okay, and what is Pn and Np? Pn and Np. Pn is nothing but number of holes in the N region, and Np is number of electrons in the P region. So Pn is number of holes in the N region, and Np is number of electrons in the P region. So we got it as Qa into Lp by tau p Pn plus Ln by tau n Np into e raised to Qv by Kt minus 1 minus Qa GOP into Lp plus Ln plus W. So this is the total amount of current in a due to thermal and optical excitation. So here in figure you can see we have a PN junction, and it is under reverse bias condition. So we have uniformly illuminated junction where the energy of the photon h nu is greater than Eg. So first figure is nothing but optical generation of carrier in a PN junction, absorption of light by the device. And the second one, we are just considering a N region, N type material, where the area of cross section is A and the diffusion length has been marked as Lp. That is, in the N region how much length a hole can travel, that is marked as Lp. So the generation rate of hole is given by GOP into tau p, and IOP is equal to Qa Lp GOP. This is due to the holes in the Q region, holes in the N region. So IOP is equal to Qa Lp GOP. About the IV characteristics I will tell you now. So we have the IV characteristics of a diode as like this. Under forward bias we have a current like this, and under forward bias we have a exponential curve, and under reverse bias we have a small current like this, and at breakdown this current will expand or current will increase sharply, isn't it? So if you are considering the optical generation rate also, how will be the current? So due to reverse bias we have a small amount of current like this, that is optical generation rate GOP is equal to 0, we have a small current like this. So once the intensity of light incident on the PN junction is increased, or some light energy has been fallen, what will happen? Some amount of minority charge carriers will be present, and these minority charge carriers will produce optical current also. Okay, so the current will be like this. This is from N to P, right? So it's a reverse current will be like this. So as the intensity of this light increases, this reverse current value will increase like this. So that has been shown here. When GOP is equal to 0, we have the first line. G1 is the first intensity, G2 second, G3 third. That has been shown here. G1 is the least. So okay, IV characteristics of an illuminated junction is shown here. So this is the case when the reverse bias is applied. So the reverse bias is present, no illumination, the first curve. And the illumination intensity as it increases, the curve will go more and more down. Next we have to see what will happen for the forward bias condition and when this voltage E is equal to 0, or we will tell it as a short circuit condition. So under this short circuit condition, how will be the curve changes, IV chara changes, and second one, under forward bias, how will be the current curve appearance. So these two things has to be discussed, that we will see in the next class. So IV characteristics under these three sections, and two parameters like open circuit voltage and short circuit voltage has to be discussed. These all things we will see in the next class. Thank you.